Good evening, everybody out there. Mark Latham here, Watchtower Alert 2. I thought I'd give you an update on the letters that I sent out a while back regarding child abuse. I did send the first initial 10 letters went out to all sorts of bodies, the government and the press, and I'm still waiting for all to reply, apart from one which has just come through today, and not surprisingly it's the one that I thought would reply first, and this is the National Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Children. The letter is here, and it's basically trying to address my questions regarding the Jehovah's Witness policy of secrecy, the two-witness rule, and did they have an opinion on it? Well, to be honest with you, the letter gives me a standard version answer back, and I didn't really expect much else at this stage. But interestingly, it does point out one or two things which I'm now going to read to you, and then I'm going to read something else from the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society. So, dear Mr. Latham, thank you for your letter and your concern for children who have been abused. The National Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Children works closely with a wide range of organisations that have direct contact with children and young people in the UK, including religious organisations. It is vital that organisations are able to keep children safe from abuse and know what appropriate action to take when a child has been abused. I'll read that bit again. And know what appropriate action to take when a child has been abused. Bold, child protection policies and procedures. All organisations that work with children and young people should have a child protection policy and procedures which clearly set out what someone should do if they believe a child is at risk of abuse or suspect that a child has been abused. Within most organisations, the procedure involves reporting the suspected abuse to a named individual within the organisation who has received child protection training and who is then responsible for reporting the abuse to the authorities. I'll come back to that paragraph again in a minute. It then goes on to suggest that maybe I should be looking at the sex offenders joining a congregation. There's a leaflet out there that you can get with more advice, websites, links, that type of thing. And it's from the Church's Child Protection Advisory Service, the CCPAS, Church's Child Protection Advisory Service. Now, if you put that into Google for the UK, you will get quite a bit of information there. And I will be reading a small part of that in a minute. In fact, why don't I do it now? And please bear with me, it's here on the laptop. Just picked it up. And this is what it says. I mean, it's basically setting standards in safeguarding. There's a helpline number. There's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Everybody is welcome to use the helpline. And this is to help organisations find out what specifically they need to do with regards to child abuse and protecting children. It's a very interesting website, the CCPAS. And if you go down a little bit, you'll see that the organisation can help you with policies and good practice, allegations of abuse, management of sex offenders at places of worship and elsewhere, and personal help with issues such as past abuse or reoffending. They've got training courses that they've been doing for over 20 years. And a couple of the other things that they do here. The CCPAS has a new qualification in e-safety. Interesting. They also have the Facing the Unthinkable safeguarding seminars. They also have safe and secure training DVDs. Special children and special needs. Supporting offenders safely. And sharing the load. Now we go down a bit further, it talks about membership of the CCPAS. Offers a host of benefits. Safe and secure, a 250-page online training manual, access to our model safeguarding policy, free breaking news updates, and full access to our disclosure service where required with free initial checks. They ask for a donation, a suggested donation of £90 a year. And it seems to me you get a heck of a lot of stuff there. And when it comes to disclosure and CRB checks and criminal record checks, they can do all of that as well as all of the other stuff. When you go down through their new operations and you keep flicking down here, there's so much there. I'm not going to go into it too much. It talks about other faiths. And it says, why reinvent the wheel? Over the years, CCPAS has worked with many different faiths. We help them to adapt our materials and learn from our experiences. We will work with anyone who shares our passion for protecting children and vulnerable adults. And we will challenge anyone who does not. Okay, well, I think we've all got an idea of exactly what we're dealing with there. This is a very proactive organisation that has a lot of wealth of information, 20 years, they do training, they do lots of information. You can just go on and on with this stuff. So there's plenty there for you to keep and to digest. But will the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society actually get involved with something like this? Well, it's a no-brainer. Of course they won't. We know that they think they're separate from the world and that they know best. Mother knows best. I mean, there's Sparlock. I'm seeing it in the background there. We know what he's done, what they've done with that one. But let's go back to this. What I've been given, and I'd like to thank the individual that sent this to me. I didn't realise this existed, but what we have here is a book, the Child Safeguarding Policy. Every organisation has to have one when there are children. It's for the UK, and it was sent to me by, I won't mention his name, but I'm very grateful to you, brother. Thank you very much for sending it to me. He had to go through the Freedom of Information Act to get hold of a copy, from what I can gather, from my wife, and she's printed it off and gave it to me and said, would you be interested? And of course I am. So yes, I've had a good read of it. And the more I read it a few times, scan read it and then read it deeply. There's a lot of information in there, but actually when it comes down to it, it doesn't prevent a thing when it comes to the abuse of children. Not really. It doesn't work. And I'm going to explain why. What we've got here is the public consumption of the Child Safeguarding Policy, and it reads wonderfully. It's beautiful. It's very slick. It talks about child abuse around the world. It's an urgent problem. You've got patterns of seduction, God's word, alcohol, sexual abuse, a global issue, the end of abuse, cautious as serpents, be thorough in your training of children, educate your child. Watchtower speak. We know what we're talking about here. But actually, Child Safeguarding Policy, if we go to the front of the book and look at the first couple of pages, on page 4 in particular, what it says there, and if anybody wants a copy of this, I can send it to them. If you email me, I'll send you a copy. This is what it says, interestingly. We got on paragraph 14, or point 14. And this is, remember, this is not the secret stuff. This is the stuff that you can read if you're a member of the public, if you can get hold of a copy of this. I didn't see it on the notice boards in the Kingdom Hall anywhere. But we've just read exactly what can happen when it comes to so-called worldly stuff. They know what they should be doing with it. Let's go back. If any congregation elder learns of a case of child abuse in which a child may still be at risk of significant harm, and in brackets, as defined by law and decided cases, the congregation elder, together with congregation coordinator of the body of elders, or in his absence another congregation elder, are required to contact a safeguarding elder at the branch office of Jehovah's Witnesses to request, and this is interesting, situation-specific guidance and direction. Interesting. A report to the police or other appropriate authorities will be made immediately by the congregation elders if it is determined that a child is still at risk. Situation-specific guidance and direction. You've looked at my previous videos, you'll have seen the 1987 letter that has gone worldwide, which is talking about saying absolutely nothing. You do nothing, you don't sneeze the wrong way, you don't blink the wrong way, you don't do your shoelaces up until we tell you to do your shoelaces up. Because when you do say something, it always comes back on us and gets us into trouble, and we end up having to pay a lot of money. So keep your mouths shut, and those that do actually leak through the calendar, we'll actually put them through a gagging order and pay them off with compensation. But it's only down to the fact you elders have been speaking up. So keep your mouths shut. Do you remember that video? Well, here we are. Let's go back again and just read this in detail, because this is really important. A child may still be at risk of significant harm as defined by law. So what do the elders do when they have this information? They don't go to the police. They go to the branch office, to what's known as the safeguarding elder. I didn't know this. Well, let's go back to the NSPCC letter here. Experts on child safety, child rape, and what they say is within most organisations the procedure involves reporting the suspected abuse to a named individual within the organisation who has received child protection training, and who is then responsible for reporting the abuse to the authorities. So here we go, back to mother again. This is the public stuff. Part 15 says, in the case of any discussion with a child abuse victim, an elder will not be alone with the child, but will involve another elder and the child's parents, guardian, or another holder of parental responsibility for the child, other than a person who is the alleged abuser. If the child expresses to the elders discomfort in discussing the matter in the presence of a parent or guardian, and the parent or guardian agrees, then the child may be gently told that he or she may choose an adult companion other than a parent or guardian with whom he or she feels comfortable speaking about the matter, to be present during the discussion. Unbelievable. Once again, elders taking on the role of the experts, the police. And what they're saying here is that if the child doesn't want to talk with one of the parents maybe, or a guardian of that child, because maybe that's the person that's abused them, as long as the guardian agrees, then they can move on. What happens if they don't agree? It all goes quiet. The person's not going to speak. And who the hell do you think you are interviewing a child that's been raped? What on earth do you think you are doing? This is way out of your league. And here you are sat in a room taking information that we all know you're not going to hand on to the police. You're going to hand it to a safeguarding elder at the branch office with all of the situation specific guidance and direction. Going on to the secret policy of the Shepherd, the Flock of God book, the secret stuff. You've had the official stuff, which is bad enough. You're interviewing children that have been raped when you shouldn't even be going there. It should be going straight to the police. We've seen it in the NSPCC report here. It says a named person who has responsibility for that stuff, that's trained, then takes it straight to the authorities when he gets a buzz that that's exactly what is happening here. straight on that phone, get the police involved, all of the right mediators to help the child. A group of elders sat in a room is not going to help the situation at all. And then you add to the fact you're not going to give that information to the authorities while you've got a guardian angel, a guardian elder involved. Who are they actually looking after here? It isn't the child, is it? Child abuse. We've already read this in a previous video, but you look there, it says about the branch office will then give direction on the circumstances. Page 132 of the Shepherd book. Any letter from the branch office concerning the child molester should not be photocopied or sent to the new congregation. That's talking about the fact that when an abuser has left one congregation, has done a bunk, as we've already talked about, the branch office will not want their headed note paper to be sent to the new congregation. They don't want that. No. They want the local elders to send their own stuff, maybe their own coordinator, to put his head on the chopping block, but they won't do it. So we go back to this situation of wondering whether or not this policy is of any use at all. And as far as I can see, it's making it very clear that the safeguarding elder at the branch office has all the sway here. He decides, and let's just go back to that one paragraph in 14 on page 4, and it says there that if any congregation elder learns of a case of child abuse in which a child may still be at risk of significant harm, do you go straight to the police? No. No, you don't. You go to your safeguarding elder, who will then ask for situation-specific guidance and direction. Unbelievable. Psalm 127 verse 3. Children are a sacred trust, an inheritance from God. They certainly are. But you can see the difference here. 1987 letter, top secret. Make sure this letter doesn't go anywhere. Keep your mouth shut. Don't say anything. We've seen the Shepherd, the Flock of God book there. If there's only one witness to this, it goes nowhere anyway. You know, it goes absolutely nowhere. The thought of having a safeguarding elder involved from branch office, were there two witnesses? Were there two? No, there's only one. Oh well, doesn't go anywhere then. If it goes anywhere, bury it. Bury it. Just keep an eye on it. Keep an eye on it, but bury it. It goes nowhere. Okay, that's as far as they'll go with it. Does it need to be reported? Well, the family have gone very quiet. Well, it's up to them then. It's in the policy. It's in our policy. It's up to them. If they want to report it, let them report it. Safeguarding elder? 23,000 apparently reported cases at head office in America of paedophiles around the world. That's the reported ones. That's the recorded ones. 23,000. Is that the tip of the iceberg? I bet it is. How many sealed envelopes are there in congregations, around, not in congregations, in congregation files? How many are there around the world that have not been recorded because there is only one witness? We're on to something here, people. The Vast Apostate Army, the National Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Children, has said, and I repeat, that this should definitely be a named individual within the organisation who has received child protection training and who is then responsible for reporting the abuse to the authorities. What we see within the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society is that nobody takes responsibility for the case. That it's all hidden within layers of men, but nobody actually, and this comes down to the fact that when you read the Shepherd book, that the head office paper that is used for that particular congregation, they won't even allow head office paper to be shared with the new congregation when the abuser has done a runner. That's how rampantly wrong this is. And it should be a named person within the congregation, somebody that knows everybody within that congregation and can make an initial judgment. Is this an abuse of rape? Is it rape? Or is it just an accusation of rape? It's too much for us, brothers. Hand it to the police where it belongs. We have nothing to hide. But unfortunately, because it's the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society, it has everything to hide. Everything. And it's about time we exposed it more and more. And I know this is not going away. I'm waiting for another 9 replies, some of them from journalists, some of them from the Houses of Parliament. And the patron here for the NSPCC is the Queen herself. I'm even thinking about writing to her, because the letter doesn't specifically answer my questions regarding the changing of the policy to protect the children. I will also now get in contact with the with this CCPAS, because they seem to say that they will challenge individuals that have anything that is not working in the way it should be for the prevention of children. So I'm going to be in contact with them to find out what they can do to apply pressure, and they are experts at working with various faiths. I'm going to finish by saying it is not enough. It is not enough by far to have a safeguarding elder working from branch office. It is not enough to have an elder who doesn't know the situation, who might be given half-truths by another individual that might already be the abuser. It needs to be the police and social workers, and you need to hand this all over and stop being policemen. I wanted to just share with you this letter because there will be more. I don't know exactly where this is all leading, but we need to keep exposing it. It's just another video out there. You've now seen the public policy, and you've now read more about the secret documents of the Shepherd Book, safeguarding elders. What a load of tosh. And you can see what the authorities think of it. It should be independent. It should be away from the organisation and given to the authorities. I can't say it enough. I hope I haven't bored those that have already seen the other videos, but we will now keep promising. I promised I will highlight this. We are part of the vast apostate army here, and we will expose you as we get this information, and we'll keep doing it until this is changed, because it needs to be changed. You're vile in what you're doing. You might think you're doing the correct thing, but you're not. You're complicit with the rapist. When are you going to stop being complicit with the rapist and start protecting the children properly and hand this stuff over to where it belongs, the professionals? You're not professionals. You have no idea what you're doing. How dare you? I'm going to sign off there to everybody else. Have a good evening. Goodbye for now.